Please subscribe math.com for any query, comment or email. Our today's lecture is on the topic of quadratic equation, a very important topic in solving the equation. So here comes the quadratic equation that refers to an equation which contains the square of the unknown variable and no higher power. Okay, so it is this is just the definition. We will discuss it in a short while, and we will see what is the standard form of the quadratic equation, what are the examples, what is the pure quadratic equation. All these things we will discuss in this lecture. So the quadratic equation is also known as the equation of degree 2, or it is also known as the equation of second degree. Now, why it is called the equation of degree 2 or the equation of second degree? Let's find it in the standard form of the quadratic equation, where you will be able to understand why we are calling it a degree 2, or why we are calling it we are saying in the definition the square of the unknown variable. So the standard form of the quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. This is the standard form of the quadratic equation. So by looking at this equation, you can easily say that this is an equation of degree 2. Why? Because the highest power here is 2. So that's why we call it an equation of degree 2, or a second degree equation, as its definition is also saying that the equation which contains square of the unknown variable. So in this case, the unknown variable here is x. So we have got the variable with the square. So its standard form shown has clearly explained its concept. Okay, so keep this in mind that this a, b and c, all these must be real numbers in the quadratic equation. So there are some there are some restrictions that we have to discuss in this equation, as a cannot be 0. What is a? A is the coefficient of x square. So a cannot be 0. If the a becomes 0, then the equation becomes linear. Okay, then here x is unknown. It is obvious that x is unknown here, and we can say that a is the coefficient of x square, b is the coefficient of x, and c is the constant term in the standard form. So we have discussed the restrictions on the standard form of the quadratic equation. See an example of a quadratic equation. So this is an example of quadratic equation. So if an equation is given like this, how you can say that this is a quadratic equation? The first thing that should come into your mind is the second degree of this equation, as the variable here x is having the second degree, and this is the highest degree in the equation. So we can say that this is the quadratic equation. Okay, so here from this equation we can compare it with the standard form, as standard form is ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. Now it is clear here that if we compare the all the terms of the standard equation and the given example, we can say that this is a, this is b, and this is c. So you can find from the given equation that what is a, what is b, and what is c. So you can say that the given equation is a quadratic equation. If I say in the given equation a is equals to 0, what it will be then? Then how the equation will look alike? Let's see. If you have 3x square plus 2x minus 1 equals to 0, and you will say that a is 0, that means that the constant with x square is 0. Then how this equation will look alike then? Then we can write as 0x square plus 2x minus 1 equals to 0, and it will become 2x minus 1 equals to 0. Now recall your previous concepts that this equation is an example of linear equation. Okay, so a should not be 0 in order to say a certain equation is a quadratic equation. Okay, so if same concept is applied on the standard form, let's see how the standard form will look alike. The standard form is ax square plus bx plus c. You have to remember this standard form. So what we have done, this is equals to 0. Then the equation becomes bx plus c equals to 0. Okay, so now this equation is no more a quadratic equation. Okay, so you have to keep these restrictions in your mind that the value of a should never be 0 in case you are dealing with the quadratic equation. Okay, so let's discuss some more example, as sometimes we will also came across the equations that will not be written in the standard form, but they are actually the quadratic equation. How? Let's say you have an example and you will be given with an equation as x square is equals to 3x minus 1. 3x minus 1. Now by looking at this equation, you can understand only one thing, that is the highest power of this equation is 2, that is it is a second degree equation. Okay, now it's a second degree equation. Now it will come into your mind quickly that it's second degree, so we must write it into the standard form of the quadratic equation. So we can convert this equation into the form as x square minus 3x plus 1 equals to 0. We have moved all these things on the other side. Okay, so in order to make it a quadratic equation, now it is clear that this is a quadratic equation in standard form. So you will never came across the equation always in standard form. You have to convert the equation into a standard form of quadratic equation. Okay, so we'll write the standard form of equation as ax square plus bx plus c equals to 0. Okay, what if we are going to discuss the case if b is equals to 0. Okay, if b is equals to 0, we have already seen if what if a equals to 0, but we have not discussed what if this b is equals to 0. What will happen then? We will get an equation as ax square plus c equals to 0. Okay, now what is this equation? This equation is called a pure quadratic equation. Now keep this in mind that you will get a pure quadratic equation in case the coefficient b is equal to 0. So this is called a pure quadratic equation. Okay, so if I take the example that if you came across the examples like x square minus 16 equals to 0. Now in this equation it is clear that b is 0, a is 1 and c is minus 16. Okay, so here b is 0. So this equation is called a pure quadratic equation. This is called a pure quadratic equation. This is the example of the pure quadratic equation. So this was all about what a quadratic equation and what is the concept and how you can identify that a certain equation is a quadratic equation and what are the restrictions on the coefficients of the quadratic equation. In the next lecture we will see how you can solve the quadratic equation by using the different methods. Thank you. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please don't forget to subscribe our channel math.com for more updates. Thank you.